hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah
on Pulse 95.
The Aisha password saga continues.
Aisha password.
Do you remember me and like people hacking me?
Yeah.
And it's happened. It just happened twice. I think when you weren't here. Had another issue with this. So I think I've had 2 or 3 issues so far.
Somebody trying to jump into your account.
Well, here's the thing. On Thursday, I just like 3/4 of the population of the UAE decided that I wanted to go out for breakfast with my friends. So I woke up around 7:30 because it takes me a while. I'm going to drive all the way to Dubai, so I need to be up there nice and early. I check my phone as one does, and I notice some text messages from my bank. I was like, what other offer are they sending me right now? Or I was like, oh, maybe they, deducted money for my OSN or Netflix or something.
Yeah.
Then it says, payment made, 36 dirhams, 99 fils at the Apple Store.
Oh my God.
An hour ago.
You're not the only one. I've been hearing all these fraud alerts. How did people get their hands on bank infos lately?
See, I don't understand really how that happened, but basically it was an hour ago, and I was definitely asleep an hour ago. I did not touch my phone. And when I checked, there were 2 transactions of the same amount at the Apple Store / iTunes Store. So I was like, yes, that is definitely fraud. So I called up my banks and I spoke to the representative, and I was like, hi, what is going on? And I asked them, do you mind checking the location? Because a very long time ago when I first got my credit card, like a credit card back when I was very young and I didn't understand much about, transactions, there was actually an automated transaction that was, I think it was for Adobe or something with Microsoft.
Yeah. That
for some reason they switched out the name so I couldn't recognize it anymore. And I, went and reported it for fraud. Then it turns out that no, it was me who was making that automated transaction. So I was like, I don't want to repeat that scenario again. So I was like, do you mind checking where these transactions are being made? He's like, yeah, just a moment, ma'am. And he does this thing and it says Ireland.
Ireland? What? Where? How? What?
I'm guessing it's a VPN.
That's very scary, though.
It is. So I was like, yeah, please, just shut my credit card. That is definitely not me. I was asleep at 6:30, and I don't know anybody in Ireland because I have lent my credit card information to several of my friends. Like, I know that if they're gonna use it, they're gonna text me first, right?
Yeah.
And all of them were asleep at 6:30 a.m. They're not gonna make the same transaction. So I was like, yes, for sure, that is fraud. And then he was like, sure, ma'am, I'm gonna be working on it right now. And as he was doing that, he was like, ma'am, I just want to confirm some purchases also on the 20th of October, the day before. I was like, yeah, sure. And in the meantime, I opened my messages and I checked myself to review them. And they were making purchases the day before, but because it was between other purchases, because, when I get the automated messages, I ignore them.
Yeah.
Because I know what I just bought. And also, I was really busy. If you remember, on Wednesday, I was at JITEX, so I was not checking my phone.
Oh, my God.
And so I think they made around 6 purchases total.
Now, hopefully you've reported for some sort of, one of those fraudulent reports, because I had to do the same thing.
Yes.
The bank investigates and they reimburse you, right?
Yeah. So now the thing is, they're like, it might take up to, it was very fun. They're like 1 week up to 60 days. I was like, okay. Sure, 60 days.
Oh my God.
When I was telling my friends and we kind of made some mental math, it would account to up to $50 iTunes cards. So they were buying $50 iTunes cards 6 times.
That's so scary. But I think a shake up like that is necessary sometimes to let you know that you really gotta keep your bank info very secure.
I'm just upset.
It's good that you're gonna. Yeah, I know.
I'm upset. I'll tell you why I'm upset.
Because they got away with it,
Not that, because I know I'm gonna get my money back. I'm sure of it. Because again, it's an obvious fraud case. I'm upset because I need to memorize my new credit card number.
That's also an issue. I had my previous card memorized, and now I'm just too lazy to memorize again. I'm just like, I'm always pulling out my card. I'm like, okay, yeah, there we go.
I mean, I'm just very upset about that. I mean, first world problems, but also, like, alhamdulillah, I've managed to get to it quickly, and hopefully I'm going to be getting my money back within 60 days. So I'm going to keep you guys updated until that happens.
So the question is, a conspiracy, which friend of yours sold you out?
La haram.
I just say it.
You know what? Umnia used my credit card several times. Is it Umnia from Future Duck?
She does cover tech-savvy stories.
She does.
She's aware of those scams.
We're watching you, Umnia. Keeping our eyes on you, Umnia. But let's talk about what we're going to be talking about today on the Afternoon Karak, starting with the Uncharted trailer.
Yeah, so it got leaked and it forced them to finally put it up on YouTube. I have a few things to say about it. Honestly,
we know, of course you do.
As a passionate Uncharted fan, I can't wait to discuss it. Also, as Sony is reportedly going to be releasing 2 Untitled Marvel movies in 2023. Seems like that Sony-Marvel cinematic universe is up and running, going full gear.
Yes, it is. We're going to be talking about Barbie. You guys remember that Barbie movie we spoke about? We know that Margot Robbie is going to be playing Barbie, but we got our Ken finally. And those are just some of the things we're going to be talking about today on the Afternoon Karak. So stay tuned and stay locked to none other than Pulse 95.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah
on Pulse 95.
So this thing has been happening across lots of movies where, first of all, something gets leaked. The long-awaited trailer gets leaked or some information gets leaked, and then the studio has to rush out and release the thing just so it can be official and that these leaked version does not get circulated. So this is exactly what happened with the Uncharted movie starring Tom Holland. So what happened is that obviously we got a leaked version of the trailer, and then Sony was like, here it is.
Yeah.
Now, here we have 2 point of views of a person who was not very much into the Uncharted series. So I haven't played the game. I just have a vague idea of what it is for the past couple of years. And you've got a seasoned fan of the game, that is Mikhail. From my point of view, I would just say that even though, to me, although I know it's based on a video game and whatnot, but I'm taking it as another action movie. And I have to say, I am not that interested. I'm just very neutral about it.
It looks generic. It looks underwhelming.
Very generic. And at the same time, it feels like there is too much happening. Perhaps they're trying to take everything, all the big things that are happening, and they're shoving it into one trailer.
You're actually right about this because I can already tell by looking at the action sequences, they've taken elements from Uncharted 2, 3, and they're taking the plot line of 4 and they're mushing it up together, and I'm not liking any of it. Matter of fact, one thing that I had so much concern, the thing I was so worried about was the casting. Tom Holland as Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg as Sully, it doesn't work. It is so off-putting. What were they thinking? I'm looking at it and it just feels like I'm just watching Tom Holland as playing this character, and Mark Wahlberg, he does not fit Sully at all. He doesn't even have the mustache. He doesn't even have this sort of like older mentorship sort of character to him. It's not right. I don't know what they were thinking with this casting, and it really breaks the illusion. It breaks everything that I loved about the series, and it does not. It's in some way it does not really respect the franchise and those characters because it feels really out of touch. I'm just so irritated by it. It's like this is a decade-long production hell that they've had with this live-action project. They've been going through multitude of directors, multitude of castings, and this is the end result. And I'll watch it, but I'll be honest, I'm really disappointed. It doesn't even explore an original plot line. It's just, the gamers love all these sequences from the games. Let's put them all together.
Exactly.
And it feels like a rehashed live action adaptation of the games with even like some of the aspects like the origin story is not, I already can tell like how Nathan and Sully meet up is not right in the film compared to the games.
And we just need to clarify as well for the people who are not aware, this is supposed to be, like I guess, an origin story / the story of how Nathan Drake became Nathan Drake, basically.
Yeah.
So this is technically a prequel to the games, but that's why it's very confusing when you see them taking elements from every single game that has been out yet so far, which covers the adult life of Nathan Drake as a well-seasoned Nathan Drake, as I was saying. So it makes no sense when you take all those things and you mash them up and be like, here you go, guys. Here's an homage to all your favorite video games.
It feels disjointed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, even as somebody who doesn't know much about the series, I can feel that too. And I believe that most people who saw this trailer have also been quite disappointed.
Mark Wahlberg as Sully. I can forgive maybe Tom Holland. Maybe he could pull it off, but they really went completely the wrong way with Mark Wahlberg as Sully. This is the worst casting in my opinion.
Well, there you go. The opinion of a seasoned Uncharted player. What do you guys think? 4215 Etisalat or do. We'd love to hear from you. Join in the conversation, whether you are from the point of view of somebody who has played the games or somebody just like me who has not played the games before. Tell us, what do you think about the Uncharted trailer? Coming up next, we're going to be talking about a bittersweet reunion. Hayden Christensen is back in the world of Star Wars because he's going to be joining the cast as Anakin in the upcoming Ahsoka series. Coming up next right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
Bittersweet. This is what we should call this lovely, lovely reunion where we're going to see Hayden Christensen returning to Star Wars with the Ahsoka series.
You know, for me personally, this is similar to when they confirmed that Ewan McGregor was going to come in and play as Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So it's these favorite characters and the actors reprising their roles. And I think the reason why this is very exciting news because Ahsoka and Anakin's storyline is one that is only explored in the animated series in Star Wars Rebels and whatnot, Clone Wars as well. We never see his apprentice and Anakin explored in the live action films, the prequels.
Yeah.
So this is a great opportunity for just people who don't watch any other Star Wars material to see them in the screen.
I think the reason why it's even more exciting and a lot more lovelier than hearing that Ewan McGregor was coming back to reprise his role as Obi-Wan is because Hayden was basically cast out of Hollywood, more or less, especially with the
because of the prequels.
No,
yes.
he was actually he was bullied for it really badly because of his role in back as Anakin. People were making fun of him. He basically had really bad mental health issues due to him doing that role all the way back in the early 2000s.
Wow.
So seeing him back is so exciting. Basically, it is the fact that one, the fans have always vouched for him and loved him for such a long time, despite the fans from the early 2000s who for some reason hated him. I know, the movie was strange. I'm not going to say it wasn't. And I don't think it was his fault. It could have been the writing, could have been some misdirection here and there.
I think it's possibly now because of the new trilogy. Everyone's like, oh, wow, those prequels weren't as bad as we thought it was.
Actually, if you, obviously, I know you're on Reddit, but if you've seen the subreddit called Prequel Memes and people who have subreddits and forums dedicated to the prequels, and some of them even going ahead and saying that the prequels are better than the entirety of the Star Wars series.
I think I've seen those, yeah.
Exactly. So there are people who are massive fans of him, and maybe those are the reason why he is back and excited to be back, or at least managed to gain that courage to show his face again, especially reprising a role that would be considered very controversial for him. So I'm so happy to see Hayden back reprising his role as Anakin. Coming up next, let's talk about another world, and that is Barbie's world, because we finally have our Ken for Greta Gerwig's upcoming Barbie movie coming up next right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse
Make a
95.
hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
You guys know the song. You guys know the song.
In a Barbie world. It's been a long time, yeah.
Having the time of your life, aren't you?
I'll be honest, I have no shame in saying this, but whenever the Barbie song comes up, I'll be jamming. It's so
As one
catchy.
should.
It's so punchy and just you can't hate it, honestly.
You can't go wrong with the Barbie girl, even though the song apparently, I don't know if you know about it, there was a whole load of issues with Mattel, and I think it was called Aqua something. I forgot the name of. I think what they called Aqua, right?
What is it?
The name of the band.
I am not familiar with the history
But
behind
basically, there was an issue because they never got permission to sing this song.
Oh dear.
So Mattel, who are notorious, Mattel are as bad as Nintendo and as bad as Disney when it comes to the world of
The music.
not music, Mattel, the owners of Barbie.
Okay, yeah.
Like when it comes to toys. So they were very, not very happy about it, but we are happy about this casting. It was an interesting casting because apparently Greta Gerwig has cast Ryan Gosling to play Ken opposite Margot Robbie.
I never thought I'd want this casting until they announced it because, I say this a lot here. Ryan Gosling is like a man crush. So to see him in a Barbie film, it just works, okay? So I'm happy, honestly.
I just want to know, because I'm very confused about the director. First of all, Greta Gerwig, because Greta is the sort of director who would do indie movies.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Two, Margot Robbie. Okay, I definitely
She
can.
got the Barbie look.
She does have it, blonde hair, and she's amazing. She's a great actress. She can nail the
Just
role.
Harley Quinn without the makeup.
And then Ryan Gosling as well. So she picked the correct people, but I'm still very confused about the direction of this movie. Where are we going? How are we looking at it? Is it going to be a realistic version? Are we going to be plasticky? What is going on
I'm
here?
imagining it like that live action adaptation of Cat in the Hat. Everything is whimsical. Life is plastic. It's fantastic.
That's what I'm hoping for as well.
Yeah, I really do.
Like something akin to Legally Blonde, even though Legally Blonde is an amazing movie. But it does have that, even though, again, Elle Woods definitely deserved to be in Harvard Law. It only makes sense. She's amazing. She's a hard worker. We're not putting her down from that point of view. But my point is, it's like she's very Barbie-esque and she's very interesting and has a lot of Deus Ex Machina kind of moments and basically that lightheartedness, that comedy, etc. Is she going to take it that way or is it going to be a lot more serious?
Maybe, or even like in line like Lego Movie, where for most of the movie we don't think it's a toy world until they kind of pan out and we realize, oh, we're in some kid's basement.
That works out.
That could work as well.
That could work out. We just need to wait and see because the movie's not coming for quite a while. I mean, yes, we did get
Ryan Gosling in there. Khalas. I got my wallet ready. I'm watching this movie.
I mean, I don't know about you. When the moment they said Barbie and Greta Gerwig, I was like, sign me up.
Anything Barbie.
This is confusing and I would love to see it. Text us 4215 Fatisalat Urdu. Tell us how you're feeling about this cast and how you're feeling about the direction for Mattel and Warner Brothers. We're going to be taking a short break and coming up next, we've got some Marvel news, we've got some Sony news, including a rumor that says that a well-known actress that you would have never guessed is apparently rumored for a role in the MCU. Coming up next right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Speculation, gossip, or hoax. Rumor has it.
So a list of actors and actresses I never would have imagined would appear within the MCU includes Salma Hayek, Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, and they're all appearing in The Eternals, which is coming out within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So should we be, surprised that there are rumors that Sandra Bullock might be joining the MCU?
Honestly, I'm not surprised because, Marvel is continuously expanding. They have tons of projects, untitled projects as well.
Yeah.
So, actors in Hollywood, whether they're famous or low tier, D-list celebrities, I think the opportunities and there's always limitless. So to say that, Sandra Bullock might be in another MCU, will be in an upcoming MCU movie, is not far-fetched. It could possibly happen, but it seems that these sources comes from an insider, and they say that they've learned that Sandra Bullock is in talks with Marvel for a role in the MCU. They've confirmed that they want to bring her in for some sort of particular role in the near future, but what role she'll be playing, how big of a role, that's still, there's no information about that.
Here's the thing. We need to also remember, this is something that we keep on talking about whenever this sort of rumor comes out, is that sometimes in talks, quote unquote, can simply just mean that she met a Marvel executive for lunch or dinner and they spoke about it, and that is it. Nothing beyond that. So as usual, we need to take this with a grain of salt. Always.
But here, let's hypothetically ask a question. What are some actors you'd love to see play in the MCU in any kind of way? Weirdly enough, I want Jim Carrey to come back into the superhero. He played as the Riddler back in one of those Batman movies. But I want to kind of see him come back and maybe play a serious role or a more clownish kind of villain that could fit one of the movies like Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know, maybe not Ant-Man. What's sort of like one of the more funnier MCU films out there besides Guardians of the Galaxy? I'm thinking, Thor. That could be great because it's got that humor to it. I mean, besides Jim Carrey, maybe Blackjack. I don't know how they're going to do Blackjack. Sorry, Jack Black. Sorry, Jack Black. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Blackjack, the card.
But the thing is, with maybe not with Thor because already wrapped up filming as far as we remember. Yeah. That's one thing. But honestly, if Julia Louis-Dreyfus was part of the MCU, we cannot put it away that all kinds of people would be interested. I'm not sure about Jim Carrey though, because he's been very very vocal about being anti-capitalist, anti-big corporation. I don't think he wants to be working with Disney, which is a massive corporation.
I see. I mean, but he is playing as Dr. Egg for the next Sonic, so the more wacky version of that character
could work out.
I remember there was even rumors we talked a long time ago about Keanu Reeves being an MCU, some sort of villain, or
that's been recurring so many
even
times.
a Star Wars villain like a Jedi, as a Sith. So again, all these are rumors, but it's nice to just sort of imagine, just dream of your favorite actors being in your favorite movies.
Absolutely. We're going to be taking a short break, and coming up next, we're going to be still dealing with the Marvel Universe, but the Sony one, because Sony has added 2 unnamed movies within its calendar to be coming out very, very soon. Coming up next, right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah
on Pulse 95.
Sony is planning to release 2 Untitled movies in 2023.
Oh my God. Knowing that they have confirmed the Kraven the Hunter film that is in development at the moment, I'm not surprised that they want to explore more of the Spider-Verse. They've already labeled themselves as Sony-Marvel Cinematic Universe, so they definitely want to bring in a lot more characters from the Spider-Man world, and there's potential for things like the Silver Sable, Black Cat. Never seen Black Cat in live action, except maybe in the animated stuff, and even in the recent video games, the Marvel Spider-Man. Madame Web. Ooh, Madame Web deals with the multiverse and multi-dimensions and stuff like that. There's even other characters such as the Night Watch, Jackpot. But I think right now their focus is that Sinister Six, which I think they will explore in No Way Home.
Yes, and we also know that Spider-Woman is kind of happening.
Yes, I forgot about it. There's Spider-Woman, and who else? Silk,
yes. Silk as well. There were some rumors going on that this is in production and that is happening. And unlike in Marvel, as in the MCU, we never really got a full timeline of all the upcoming Spider-Man universe movies that are coming from Sony. So perhaps this is kind of setting up the pace for it. We also need to remember that since Venom just came out, Venom 2, maybe they are thinking of Venom 3 already, even though in my opinion it might be a little bit too early, kind of. But who knows? Maybe they are probably considering it as something that should be coming out very, very soon.
There is a comic book series. I think it's called The Venom Wars, where the symbiote, the virus spreads across humanity, but it kills everybody, and only the strongest humans survive and become like these symbiote warriors. And weirdly enough, Venom himself as a character, he travels into another universe to acquire like some members of the Avengers to help him fight this catastrophic virus.
I think
so.
That's
Maybe
a
that
little
could be
bit,
something.
No, that's a little bit too ambitious. And I mean, if
maybe
they are
Venom 5, maybe, I don't know.
I mean, like if they're gonna continue with the story of Venom, which would be in the universe of all the upcoming Spider-Man movies, such as Morbius and I'm trying to remember Kraven the Hunter and whatnot, and Sinister Six. If that's gonna happen, they cannot kill off all of humanity, Mikhail.
Not yet.
They
We
cannot
might
do
explore that. We need to wait until Secret Wars and a few more Avengers.
Again, that is a different universe. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
We don't really know how far they have, signed off on sharing characters, because if you remember, we spoke about Spider-Man, and we already know that from 2 years ago that when it comes to Spider-Man, the character Spider-Man, it is on loan with Disney, and that Tom Holland has only signed up for 2 more movies. So, 3 more movies, which was back then No Way Home.
Homecoming. Far From Home.
No Way Home. And there was one more movie, which is probably going to be Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So we've got our 4 movies. And we don't really know if he has signed up for any more movies within the Marvel Universe and the MCU. So we might never see Spider-Man ever again. Or he might have, renewed his contract. We don't really know what's happening within that universe. Which is why I'm like, when it comes to Marvel and MCU, Marvel, Disney, and with Sony, we don't really know the extent of their agreements. What is happening there? Are they going to continue sharing some characters? Are they not going to share characters? Is Sony going to hoard them all, as they should? I mean, if I was Sony and I know how successful this entire thing is, this entire franchise, I would keep on hoarding it. I would understand. I would sell it for billions. If they want Spider-Man, I'd be like, pay me $10 billion. I understand that fully, honestly.
I remember there's this meme where Marvel or Disney was like, yo, can we buy Spider-Man off of you? And Sony's like, not for sale. And then they said, can we buy your company? He's like, is Sony for sale?
I mean, that's how badly they want Spider-Man. And again, we've spoken about this before, but it could easily be that the whole thing that happened back in 2019 and late 2019, early 2020 could have been just a publicity stunt. I mean, they could have already coordinated and they just wanted to create some kind of buzz.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we don't know what's happening within that. But what kind of movie can we expect? We just, as usual, wait and see. Maybe they don't want to reveal it simply because they're waiting for the long-awaited movies that have been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back from Sony, especially, for example, Morbius. We've been waiting for so long, so we don't know. I mean, we might need to wait for that movie to come out for them to reveal the rest of the roster when it comes to the Sony Marvel Cinematic Universe. Still a mouthful to say. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about hippos. Illegal hippos that apparently are quite legal now. We're going to be talking about Pablo Escobar's hippos that have been set free since he passed away, and apparently they're human now.
It's a very bizarre story.
Very bizarre story.
I think, especially if you've watched the show Narcos, you ought to hear this story. So
you ought to hear this story. It's been all over the internet. Let's talk about that. Coming up next, the hippos who are people, right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
I know this was initially supposed to be not in the news segment, but it's all over the news. So it's not in the news. It's everywhere. Everybody's talking about Pablo Escobar's hippos. So all the way 3 decades ago, Pablo Escobar, who was, everybody knows, who was a drug kingpin, and he had a lot of money. So what do people with a lot of money do? They spend it on things that are weird and not necessarily necessary.
Yeah.
And that includes a private zoo where he shipped out hippos, giraffes, elephants, etc., all that you can think of. And then back in the 90s, when he was, the whole shootout with the police, he died. And what happened is that the hippos started mating. And since then, we have 150 hippos in Colombia Where they shouldn't be.
Yeah, because ecologically speaking, they're not part of that environment. It doesn't suit them. But weirdly enough, back 30 years ago, it was only 4 hippos, and now it's 150. So much so that it's causing a lot of issues with native citizens. Just their presence, they consume a lot of foliage. Their wastage on rivers is actually affecting the environment.
Only makes sense because they're not supposed to be part of that ecosystem, and this isn't something new. A lot of people have been doing that for a very long time. You probably heard of invasive species, and it could be anything from fish to plants to actual reptiles to animals.
Even birds,
birds as well. People take some sort of animal and then they kind of raise it, or it runs away, or they're like, I don't want this anymore, and they send it off, and then it basically ends up mating and creating an imbalance within the ecosystem. So what happened here?
So the authorities have been weighing on, planning to either use some sort of chemical contraceptives to stop them from reproducing. Some of them have even weighed on to try to kill these hippos, kill all of them, just get them out of
That is also something very common as well, when they're like, okay, we need to euthanize them because they're not helpful for the ecosystem, but they have a lawyer. The hippos have a lawyer, and a very good lawyer, a bunch of lawyers.
So basically what's happening, the U.S. Animal Advocacy Organization, Animal Legal Defense Fund, has filed a legal application to basically protect the hippos and give them the title of, to basically give them, entitle them with human rights instead of animal rights. And that way they would be protected. They cannot be touched. And if they are in any way, if anybody does anything to them, then they would get into severe legalities because of it. And it's two weird opposing factors in this. People who live there and are getting tired of these hippos, and then the U.S. stepping in and saying, "Hold on, can we protect this?" Because it does seem like a group of endangered species.
If you want to protect them, maybe remove them from this vicinity and perhaps ship them off to where they belong, or put them in some sort of reservation where they can at least live out their life without annoying or being a hassle for everybody else.
Yeah, this is. I don't know. I try not to get into the political aspect of it, but at the same time, I feel for these people. If there is a solution, one that is humane at least, I think that's the right path to go for.
I think they're just very upset that 30 years later, Pablo Escobar is still...
His little mistake is...
Was it a mistake? I don't think it was a mistake.
No, it's not a mistake.
He's still terrorizing them many years later. Let's take a quick break, and coming up next, we're going to tell you how you can be the lucky winners of 10,000 dirhams. Yes, you heard that correctly. Stay tuned and stay locked to Pulse 95.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
You have less than a week to enter a competition brought to you by Omnis Media and Pulse 95 Radio, where you can be the winners of up to 10,000 dirhams. All you have to do is grab your drone and go out in the Emirate of Sharjah to take lovely picturesque videos, 60-second videos of the Emirate, and upload it onto Instagram.
You see, honestly, I'm envious of those who can do it because I can't be part of the competition, But
and you don't have a drone.
I don't have a drone. I could make it work. However, I get like a stick with a phone. I'm like, oh, you see, it's one of those.
It's a drone. It's definitely a drone. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Magic trick here. But anyway, for people who can be part of this competition, I really urge you. This is the last week before we finalize our winners. So please grab your drones and capture a 60-second video drone montage of the Emirate of Sharjah. There's 2 winning categories. There's one for Best Cinematic Style. That's for 10,000 dirhams. There's Best First-Person View Style for 10,000 dirhams. And there's a third position, a runner-up for 7,000 dirhams. That's a lot of money. And all it takes is just for you to be a little bit creative. Really just go out there and take some wonderful shots of the beautiful Emirate of Sharjah.
So a reminder, 2 things. It's the Emirate of Sharjah. So you have the entire Emirate of Sharjah, which includes Sharjah City. We have Al Hamriya, we have Kalba, Khorfakan. If you enter a video, and we've seen a couple of them, of the neighboring Emirates, whether it's Dubai, Ajman, Ras Al Khaimah, we'll know, and it's not going to work out, guys. It has to be the Emirates of Sharjah. And second of all, because you're sometimes not allowed to film with a drone, make sure you get a drone permit, because you're going to get into a lot of trouble if you do not get it here in the UAE. And also just wanted to add 60 seconds. No more than 60 seconds. That is the time limit. The moment it goes above 60 seconds, it's going to be eliminated and it will not be a part of the competition. Don't forget, hashtag Sharjah Above.
Hashtag Sharjah Above, and tag us at Pulse 95 Radio so we know that you're part of the competition.
Exactly. Guys, we need to wrap up here. We're going to be back tomorrow. Same time, same vibes. Also, we got some interesting discussions. I cannot wait for tomorrow. There's one thing I cannot wait to talk to you about. Okay. I've been saving it.
Despite the exclusive, we have an exclusive review tomorrow.
We do have a review as well of the French Dispatch and so much more. Make sure you're tuning in to none other than Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of Afternoon Karak, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.